the cueing for the sumo deadlift. So go ahead and get down to the bar. Now the first thing that I think about when you're setting up for a sumo deadlift is driving my knees out and getting external rotation through your femurs. Okay, we really want to think about trying to make our kneecaps point out towards this weight. Now, when you do that, this part is almost going to happen automatically, but we want to focus on getting those hips into a posterior hip tilt to make it very easy to use these glutes. To hold yourself in this hip position, you want to brace your abs so that everything in your torso is super stacked, okay? We really kind of want to turn this into a leg press so that you go ahead and tension. So you're going to pull up on the bar to tension, and then you're going to drive your hips into the bar and get your hips as close as you possibly can to that bar, and then you're going to shoot up. Okay, now the pre-tension, the hip wedge, and the explosive upward drive, that's all going to kind of turn into one motion as you get used to it. So Michael, go ahead and show him a rep. So the first thing he's going to do is get his glutes activated, get his core activated, get a nice deep breath in, and drive up. So the setup is going to be different for everyone. Just like any other exercise, the foot placement is going to be a little bit different, and there are a couple different variations. Okay, so one that we see is going to be super wide. Get your toes all the way to the weight. Really point them out. Yep. I see a lot of people setting up like this because in their mind it decreases the range of motion. And that may be true, but if you can't get power to generate out of your hips in this position because you're too far apart, there's no point, right? It's going to be more detrimental to you. So go ahead and bring your feet back into where you're comfortable. And honestly, Michael and I put our feet about the same position. I'm going to show them the third iteration, the frog stance. Okay, so you're going to bring your feet in. Ed Cohen was one of the first ones to kind of make this lift a little more popular. So your frog stance sumo deadlift is going to be much narrower stance. Point your toes out just a little bit so that we can get some good external rotation through your knees. And what I generally tell people when they're first setting up for a sumo deadlift is try to make your shins perpendicular to the ground when you're in your setup position. So Michael's going to go ahead and get down to the bar. And you can see that his shins are going to be perpendicular from this angle. Now, they're not going to be perpendicular from this angle until he tensions that bar because the knees are put over the bar. Then you want to tension your body weight against the weight on the bar, so you're almost pulling yourself back a little bit, but what that's going to do is put your knee directly over your ankle. Great, and then you're just going to go ahead and explode up. So what you want to be focusing on here is pulling back with your chest. Pull back. And you can kind of see I'm falling backwards because you get used to tensioning your body weight against the weight that's on the bar. So the last thing I want you to focus on, we started at the ground. We're working our way up our body. The last thing that we're going to focus on is our head. Okay, it's not the last thing we're going to focus on, but it's the last thing we're going to talk about in this film. So go ahead and get back down to the bar. Pre-tension. And again, just like I was saying, to pull your weight back against the weight that's on that bar, the way you're going to be able to do that is in your head. It's pulling that head back and getting as tall as possible and making those arms as long as possible. Boom. That's going to get all of this thoracic musculature activated, so you're super, super stable in that top end. This guy. And it's going to get your erectors nice and activated so that you have as many muscle groups as possible working to get that weight off the ground.